Hey guys, sorry about the lighting, but I'm not feeling so good today, so this is what I'm gonna do. The reason I'm bringing this video is because I've had a lot of people ask me, how was I diagnosed? What steps did I take? And what symptoms were I having that made me go to the doctor and say, hey, something's wrong? So my journey actually started about 2010, 2011. I was always getting sick on my stomach. I couldn't understand for the life of me what it was. So I went to my doctor and they were like, oh, it could be the flu or whatever. So they treated me for that. You know, I was like, it's something more serious. About 2012, I got my gallbladder removed because they felt like, hey, maybe this was one of my issues. I had my gallbladder removed about 2012. About a month or two after that, I entered into what they told me was a flare. A flare of what? I don't know, because they couldn't tell me until after I got diagnosed in 2016 that that's what I was possibly having at that time, which kind of baffled me, but whatever. So they started testing me around right a month or two after my gallbladder was removed. The first test they did was an endoscopy and a colonoscopy, which, for those who do not know, that is a endoscopy is a camera down your throat to see what's going on in your stomach, and a colonoscopy is to check what is going on in your intestine. So the endoscopy showed that I had gastritis, I had acid reflux, and I had H. pylori. H. pylori is an infection of the stomach that, if left untreated, can lead up to, in the future, can lead up to cancer in the stomach. They started me on antibiotics, a really severe, heavy dose of antibiotics that had me so sick, child. I wasn't even able to finish it, honestly. I didn't finish it because it was way too much for my stomach. The colonoscopy showed that I had diverticulosis, which, again, for those who don't know, diverticulosis is pockets in your intestine that, if anything gets caught up in there, in the pockets, you can end up getting what's called a diverticulitis flare. I've already had 3 so far, and they've been horrible. It feels like somebody is ripping like your intestine out. It's just really bad. So then after the treatment, I came back a couple of weeks later and they were like, oh, we need a stool sample. So in that stool sample, they ended up finding out that the H. pylori still hadn't gone away. So they wanted me to try another round of antibiotics, which I did because I just wanted it to be over. I was feeling so sick. Then after that, I ended up, after I couldn't finish another dose of antibiotics, I honestly didn't go back to my doctor for 3 years. At around this time, it was about, like, right after I got married, to my husband. My husband was like, babe, you're really, really sick. I told him I was sick. I just didn't know what the hell I had. And then he was like, babe, you're getting worse. We went back to my GI doctor, which then he decided to run a breath test, which showed that I had no more H. pylori, thank God, and that I still did have gastritis. I still had acid reflux. He wanted to do a camera pill study, which we did because that was like the easiest thing for me to do because I wasn't going to take any more antibiotics. And I came back, so this was about, I would say, late 2015. We came back and we did the camera pill endoscopy. I came back about a week or 2 later for the results, and he sat me down and he said, well, I think you have something called gastroparesis. And I said, what is that? And then he broke it down to me of what it was, that it was paralysis of the stomach. He didn't know what stage I had and he didn't even know if I had it 100%. He just said it was a possibility. Because what happened was, as I took the camera pill, it stood in my stomach for 8 hours. So pretty much the battery died in my stomach. And I was like, wow, So he set me up, so about early January of 2016, he set me up for what is called a gastric emptying study. In that gastric emptying study, I basically ate eggs with some like radioactive like liquid in them. I mean, I didn't taste it. I can barely get through eating the eggs because honestly at this point I was not eating anything. My stomach was severely bloated, you know, so we knew that I had it. We just needed the confirmation that I had it. So I ate the eggs. They took an x-ray before I ate the eggs, and then they took an x-ray after I ate the eggs every hour for 4 hours. In that, it showed that I had moderate gastroparesis, and that it literally took my stomach about 6 to 7 hours, sometimes 8 hours to digest my food. So I was like in between like the severe and the moderate. So they just put me at moderate. I was shocked, honestly. I was scared. I was terrified. I honestly didn't know what to expect. I knew that something was wrong. I just didn't know what was wrong. And I honestly wish that I would have sought treatment quicker, that I wouldn't have waited, because I was in the hospital a lot. I was sick a lot. I couldn't eat. I was watching my family eat. I fell into a really bad depression. I went through so many tests, so many like problems, and all because I should have gotten tested sooner. And that's my advice to anybody. My advice to anybody is, if you feel that it's not just the flu, that it's not just a cold, that it's not just anything, keep pestering, keep bothering, because it's hard being diagnosed with any illness. So this can range from anything. This can be from gastroparesis, from fibromyalgia, from anything. You know, at this point they don't really know what caused my gastroparesis. It could have been my diabetes, it could have been the gallbladder removal surgery, it could have been anything, because I've been a diabetic for so long. It could have been that. You know, they can't really narrow it down what made it worse, what brought it up. They don't know. But don't stop asking questions. Don't stop telling people your story. Even if you have to go through all these rounds of tests and stuff like that, when you hear some bad news, don't run away. Don't say, oh my God, you know? Don't do any of that. I went through so many tests. I was sick and tired. I felt like the only guinea pig. I felt like I must have been going crazy. They made me feel like I was going crazy. Like all these symptoms were in my head. Like all these symptoms, I made them up, and it wasn't so. You know, it wasn't. And I've been on this journey for 2 years already, and it's been 2 hellish years of dealing with gastroparesis. It hasn't gotten any easier. As you guys can tell, I'm thinner. It's not easy, but getting an answer is better than getting nothing and not knowing anything and just being in the dark about everything. So I really hope this video can help somebody do what they need to do to get tested. Thank you.